Good morning, everyone, and welcome. This is Joe Scarice, your co-founder, co-host of the Creative Birth Strategies podcast and house here on Clubhouse every Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, providing education, networking, and strategy. So let's get rocking and rolling here. Start inviting some peeps in and get started here. We're going to have a great discussion. We have a special guest coming in here, and hopefully in a few minutes, hopefully she'll be able to get in there and get herself set up. We're going to be talking about why today's dirt is so valuable in land banking. So we're going to get rocking and rolling. Let me just invite people in, then I'm going to invite some moderators up. We're going to get deep into a discussion right now. A lot of updates on the market, real updates on events, which I'm really excited about too. So we'll get started here in just a few minutes. But I think this discussion will definitely be different. It was provided by Linda Pelagas of Realty 411, a guest of hers. Hopefully, we'll get here in a few minutes. Let me just get plugging and playing here. It's always the whole timing of things of plugging in and inviting people up with my thumbs, and I'll get some of our peeps in, and they can invite some people up as well. All right, get everybody moderator up. Marcel, if you don't mind, just muting yourself for one second, and then we'll get you introduced in just a minute. Hang on one second. Yep. Give me 1 second. My thumbs can only go so quick. Now we got our moderators up and running. We'll get people going here. But I think this is a really interesting discussion. Why today's dirt is tomorrow's gold, land banking. I'm seeing a lot of more discussions with land as well. So when Linda made the introduction, I was like, okay, let's try this discussion out. And we're always trying to tackle different discussions. The Creative Birth Strategies podcast we're getting very close to 150 episodes in January. And I'm very proud of that, working with Yardell Perkins of Perkatech, who's our core sponsor and support administration staff here at the podcast. We're now doing individual interviews, one-on-ones, once a month in Philadelphia as well, to add to what we're doing. We're tying it all into events that we're holding through real estate mastermind strategies. We're having a second Monday of every month in Philadelphia, second Saturday in Philadelphia, second Wednesday in Lehigh Valley, third Thursday starting in January in North Jersey, up in Newark, New Jersey, which I'm excited about. And because we've been doing third Tuesday, but I'm moving it to third Thursday. And it looks like we're going to be committing to the second Thursday of the month in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Central PA. So we'll see how that goes. We've got three big events, four big events, maybe even five. All with Pace Morby finishing off the year. I'm sponsoring Philadelphia, Harrisburg, and what do you call Pittsburgh, New York City. We're Pace. They're going to be like 300 people per event. I'm really looking to meet the creative people there, tying it into the unsecured business lines of credit. Um, just meeting as many people as possible before the end of the year, because to me, it's numbers. Being in the lending space, I need to meet, whether people are going to either become white label brokers or capital partners of ours, referral partners where I could pay origination and or direct to investors. So I'm in the numbers game space in meeting and greeting with people. So I'm excited about the end of the year. I'll also be in Rhode Island, Providence, Rhode Island, Boston, and Hartford for a bunch of events right up to New Year's Eve day. So I'm excited about just being in front of so many people before the end of the year. It's been a very busy year. I want to thank everybody for collaborating, being part of this. We're going to get into 200 episodes sometime second quarter of next year, and we're going to really keep pushing it. It's just identifying the right subject matter. You could follow myself on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram. All the content, all the articles are being pushed out on a day-to-day basis. A lot of video work is being pushed out right now from our last white label course. We're going to probably not have the one in December. We're going to push it into New York on in January in New York City. So we're going to kind of push out the December one because we're pretty involved with a lot of networking events as is. So let's get caught up in the market. But first, I want to thank Linda from Realty 411 who made this introduction for Marcella. I'm going to be briefly interviewing her, then opening it up to our moderators to kind of give their thoughts or statements or questions back to Marcella as well. And the moderators here this morning are not scripted at all. So they're totally just this is just a new discussion where they're just learning it as we go. So a little update on the market today. Rates kind of leveled off at around 6.27 on a conventional side. Rates on the commercial side, on my side, on non-QM, you're probably anywhere between 6 and 7%, depending on credit score, LTV, DSCR, loan amount. The larger loan amounts are getting better rates. I just did a blanket loan, locked somebody in on a blanket loan purchase at 6%, 30-year fixed money. So I mean that's pretty damn good. Um, but so we're still seeing a very heavy inquiry on fixed to rent, fixed to flip, and new construction. Fixed to rent, fixed to flip money, bridge money is somewhere between 8.375 and 10 and a quarter, depending on experience. In the industry, completed projects, credit score, complexity of the project, and that's been pretty steady, in rates. That's going to stay very inexpensive. At this time, all fixed to rent, fixed to flip, and new construction has gone virtual with the appraisals. DSCR, I foresee that going virtual appraisal probably sometime next year, third quarter. So I see that coming as well. So interesting update there. A couple interesting articles that caught my eye. Fair market rents are up dramatically since 2021, but they're leveling off a little bit. You're seeing DSCR compressing. You're seeing days on the market on rentals compressing. So you're seeing the average rental up for rent for 2 to 3 months in a lot of markets, and that's a lot longer, especially in the affordable housing space. I have landlords complaining they cannot fill their Section 8 voucher for 2, 3, 4 months. And that gets me a little nervous, especially in the urban settings when there's supposedly a backlog of vouchers out there. But I feel like the housing authorities are now getting into the housing business and gobbling up a lot of those housing vouchers. And my concern there is who they're going to pay first, you or themselves, and who's inspecting them is the question of the day. So I foresee some issues in that affordable housing space going into 26. Another article that caught my eye this morning. Let's see here. I mean, there's some housing markets that are at risk. I'm going to name the top five that are on the watch list. Charlotte County, Florida. Humboldt County, California. Shasta County, California. Butte County, California. And one that really catches my eyes, Cumberland County, New Jersey. I really like that area. I feel like it's affordable. The barrier of entry is there. Um, I'd probably say that there's a lot of aggressive investors down there that went over leveraged. I know a few of them are in foreclosure, so maybe they're impacting the market quite a bit. I actually know of one former client that's in foreclosure in 20 properties in the Cumberland, Salem County market, and Atlantic County market, maybe more. I know of 20. So maybe that's impacting the bottom line nationally. Who knows? But that's very interesting to watch. I will put an article out on that as well. And then a little update to the Fed Reserve meeting in December predictions. And these are just thoughts. Everybody's really expecting a 25 basis rate cut. I don't think it's going to impact the rates that much. What I think is most problematic and the biggest risk, the Fed cuts by 25 basis points to bring it to 3.50 to 3.75 on the base rate. The economic slowdown and softening labor market continues to weigh, and many policymakers seem ready to support modest easing. The Fed pause. The one risk I see is the Fed pauses instead, or signals very cautiously if inflation doesn't convincingly fall, or if missing late data makes them wary. So also internal division could lead to dissent or mixed messaging. I don't really see a big issue with rate change probably till February when the Trump administration announces who's going to be the new Fed chair. That is where you're going to see a lot of volatility in the market, hopefully coming down, and hopefully you see somewhat of a market in the spring. You had a very flat market all year last year, so it was very sectional where market was popping here and there. I'm seeing a lot less realtors going to conventions and expos. Triple Play is coming up this week in in New Jersey, PA, and New York, and they're giving hotel rooms away. No one is going to it. So very interesting to watch. I'm sure that's nationally and what that's looking like. So let's get into the young lady that we're interviewing today, Marcella Silva. She is out of the San Francisco area. Regional manager is of Dirt is Gold and a certified land banking consulting with Valor Real Estate Services. She specializes in helping investors build long-term wealth by acquiring strategically located pre-development land in the path of growth, particularly in the high potential California markets, but I'm sure elsewhere, and we'll get into that. She's got a background in computer scientist, turning into a land bank expert. She blends her data-driven analysis with teacher's heart, breaking down complex concepts so everyday investors can confidently diversify beyond traditional stocks, 401ks, and tenant-heavy rentals. Through her Dirt is Gold brand, webinars, and educational content, she has gained hundreds of clients and relocating millions of dollars into carefully vetted land parcels positioned for long-term appreciation and legacy building. So I met Marcella through Linda Pelagas of Really 411. I don't know if Linda's here this morning, but I don't think she is. I'm a big fan of new construction, big fan. So understanding land banking is definitely ties into my new construction because we're very aggressive going into the new year. I need to meet as many new construction developers as I possibly can. So I'm putting that out there because we have a lot of money to put to work. So this land banking types in. Marcella, good morning and welcome. Brief overview. Hello. Good morning from the West Coast.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, Joseph.
We didn't have to worry about a bad hair day, right? You're on audio, right?
Exactly. Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. No, I think you're okay.
Okay, perfect. And just a point of clarity, my name is Marcella.
Oh, sorry.
Marcella,
Sorry.
okay.
Sorry. Apologize. That's the North Jersey in me. Yep. Go right ahead. So give me a little background on you, and then we'll go into the questions we laid out, and then we'll open it up to the moderators, of course, and then get into it.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you guys for having me here today. Hello to everyone. My name is Marcella Silva, and a little background on myself and how I got into this. Growing up, actually, I used to watch my parents invest in land all throughout northern New Mexico, which is where I'm from. And, when you're a kid, you don't really pay attention to what your parents do, especially if they aren't specifically teaching you, but they were very smart in their land investing, which helped put me through college, and now they are retired as a result of it. So fast forward a little bit, I was recruited straight out of college to work at Lawrence Livermore National Labs, which is in California, which is now where I live today. But I was recruited there and worked there for a little over 10 years. And back in 2007, when I was there, the lab went through a major transition. And as a result of that transition, they completely changed their benefits, including their retirement. So I had an opportunity at that time, Joseph, to either take my old 401k and roll it into the new 401k program they were putting together, or do something else with it. And I vividly remember sitting at my kitchen table, looking at my 401k statement, thinking to myself, the only way this goes up is when I put money into it. This is ridiculous. I'm never going to be able to retire at this rate. I have to do something different. And I really was feeling called towards investing in a real asset that I could see, that I could touch, that would actually go up in value without me adding money to it. So that started my journey to find a good investment for my 401k funds. I specifically determined I wanted real estate, especially since seeing real estate values here in California are just a phenomenal opportunity. I mean, so much wealth has been created in real estate in California. So started going to seminars, reading books, educating myself, got my real estate license. And along the way, I decided I really didn't want to get into the aspect of tenants, toilets, and termites. Not to say that that's bad or that that's wrong. It just wasn't for me. I didn't have the time, patience, or resources for that. So I kept up my search and eventually found something called land banking. And so what land banking is, it is the practice of buying pre-developed land located in the path of growth. I'm sure most people on this call have seen this happen before their eyes. They just probably didn't know there was a term for it or how to even get involved in this type of investment. So General Douglas MacArthur describes what I do best when he said, all a person has to do to get rich in America is find out where people are going, get there first, buy land while it's affordable, and then wait. So in 2008, I took my old 401k, rolled it into a self-directed IRA, and bought my first property. This was 2008 when everything was crashing. So I was very fortunate, divine right timing, to take my money out of the stock market before I lost it all, like so many people, and bought my first property. And within the first year of me owning my land, the land more than doubled. So I was like, okay, wow, there really is something to this land banking. Ended up learning more about it, meeting the owners of the company, retired from my software engineering job to become a full-time land banker and help other people get into this opportunity. So that's a little bit about how I ended up where I am now.
So, Marcella, this ties into to me, as I don't know if you know much about my background. I'm a direct private lender. So when I hear land banking, I hear the opportunity of getting a piece of land ready for construction, right? And potentially selling it at a premium based on shovel readiness or the opportunity of building A, B, or C. Um, in your game plan with land banking, this we won't go into locations because I feel like anywhere is a good location. But in your thought, when you're doing the land banking, are you looking to mature the land to make it shovel ready for potential developers and new construction opportunities?
No.
Okay.
So let's bring a little clarity to what land banking is. Mm-hmm. You know, there's multiple different stages of land, and kind of what you talked about, getting land shovel ready for developers. Those would be considered more entitlement or entitlers, and we're not that.
Okay.
So I'm going to be the lazy investor. I just want to own the asset that's needed at some point for something. And as I hold that land, the value continues to rise when it's located in a high growth area, which not everywhere is high growth. And, you know, it's very critical to understand the economics of an area, the growth of an area, what is good land and what is not good land, and to be positioned in areas where there's not a lot of land, where a lot of development is coming in. So here's a little secret for you guys. They're not making any more land. And as there's less and less of it available, the value of it continues to rise. So a great example is, you know, look at the keyboard on your computer, right? Imagine that each individual key is a different parcel of land. And let's say I own the letter J. And a developer comes along and decides they want to buy the entire keyboard, all the different parcels of land to build something. I don't care what it is that they're building. I'm in the middle of that. And they need my land. It's not like they can just run off to Costco to find another piece of land. There's only so much of it available. And that positions me as a landowner in a very powerful and lucrative position to get the highest and best price for my property. So land is an imperfect market, and as such, it allows us to get arbitrage. And that's one thing that you can't really do with like housings or stock market. You know, the price is what the price is. But with land, you can literally see, like I have a property that I bought for $1 per square foot. It's now worth over $30 per square foot because there's not much land left in the particular location where that property is. So Land banking is not about packaging land for developers. It's about owning land in high growth areas.
I like that. I like that. Okay, so I mean, listen, I'm the fan of doing the dirty work, which is nothing. I mean, that's where we separate, and that's fine. And do you train that at all in your training? You know, to hey, if you want to take it to the next step, you could do this, but be the lazy investor and just make your margin and walk away. Like, let me ask you that question. Like, I'm very focused in new construction, so I'm very interested in this land banking, controlling land. You know, are you optioning it? Are you owner financing it? What is your direction with investors in obtaining the land, controlling the land? What's the play on that?
Sure. So the company that I represent, they have for over 46 years specialized in land banking. So doing the research to number one, find the right areas, right? What are the macroeconomics that are happening that is causing development and growth? And then what are the microeconomics on a more local level? And then what is good quality land parcels in the area? So we are all about doing the due diligence of the land, of the areas, and our company actually acquires the land themselves. So we have a land inventory, which we then make available to investors who are looking to diversify their portfolios into this type of investment opportunity. So we make it very kind of plug and play easy.
Yeah.
For investors to get these parcels.
So what does land have to do with AI?
That's a good question. We all hear about AI all day, every day. Well, right now, specifically, especially here in California, there are government mandates that have been put in place basically since 2005, which are moving us away from fossil fuels to green energy. So it's a very unique opportunity to not only own the land that everything needs, but also to own the land that's needed to create the resource which we all use every day, which is energy. And so California has mandated, so have many other states and countries throughout the world and corporations throughout the world, to go green. In other words, there's a massive wealth shift happening right now to move away from fossil fuels to green energy. And so everything needs energy, especially AI. AI alone, just in the next 4 years, will create an energy demand just in California alone equivalent to the entire city of Los Angeles. That's like 4 million people being added to the state in a 4-year period. Where are they going to get enough energy for that? That is one of the biggest issues that data centers AI has, is being able to get enough energy. We happen to be investing in the number one location in not just California, but the entire United States for massive utility scale green energy projects. So you're looking at like solar, wind projects, battery energy storage systems. It's been mind-blowing how much land has been consumed in such a short amount of time, to the tune of over 230 square miles of land, with over $120 billion worth of investments in infrastructure and projects coming in. And so as AI is ramping up very quickly across the globe, the countries, the cities, the states that will win the quote unquote AI race are the ones who are able to get the energy sources for it.
So what's the minimum
example? Right?
Oh, okay.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to ask you what's the minimum investment here? Like what should people expect in doing land banking, whether working with you or on their own after being trained by you?
25,000.
Yeah.
Get them a property right in the middle of all the action. Yeah, it's affordable for the average investor to get into this.
Is there a syndication, or does the investor have to own the land outright? Is it a syndication, meaning the way that you're buying it, or these guys going or gals are going in 100% themselves?
Yeah, no, they're able to acquire the land 100% themselves. They get the grant deed and policy of title insurance. So when someone buys it with us, they're not buying into a syndication. Although people can create a syndication to purchase a property, but still, they get full control and ownership.
Yeah, what's the relationship between land and economics?
So economics drives growth, right? The areas where we're investing, we want to have a minimum of multiple different trends. So 6, 7 different trends causing an area to grow. That way, if any one trend stops, then that's not going to stop development from happening in an area. We want development that's going on even in economic downturns or pandemics, all the things. So you really have to focus in on areas where there's multiple economic trends causing it to grow. It's a strong economy and there's lack of available land. In California, there's less than 2% of California's land left to be developed, and that was over 20 years ago, according to a UC Berkeley study.
So, what's the first step every investor should take to get started in land banking? Like, what due diligence or educational steps should they come first? And then, I'm trying to get an idea. What does that all take?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, with us, we want to make it as easy and plug and play as possible. So for people who want to do land banking with us, the first recommended step is to educate yourself and watch my land banking webinar to learn all about the who, the where, the what, the basic details of what it is that we do, where, and why. And so people can go to my website, dirtisgold.com, and sign up to watch the webinar there.
Yeah, can you either have Linda or you put that in the comments because I think people would like to see that. Or if anybody wants to reach out to me, I can make email introductions as well. And we're gonna obviously cut and edit this podcast and get it out, for you so you can, we could send it out as well. So I appreciate that. I'm gonna open it up to the ladies first because try to be a gentleman on Sundays here and every day. So we always go with the roses amongst the thorns. We'll start with Linda, who invited and made the introduction. Linda, brief overview who you are, and do you have a question or statement for Marcella this morning on why today's dirt is tomorrow's gold in land banking?
Good morning, Bill. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate everything that Joseph does. And it's a pleasure to have Marcella on the show, who I've been working with for a number of years now. Land banking, one of the reasons it's a great way of getting in is because it's affordable. It's an affordable way of purchasing property in a hot market. And I say hot market because historically California has appreciated about 10% per year on average. On average, it has doubled in price every 10 years or so. So that's why, it's such a in-demand asset. And like Marcella says, they're not making any more of it. And just for, as a sidebar personal story, my husband's uncle purchased land in the Inland Empire of California in the 1970s. So it was a long time. He was a big real estate investor, but he had extra money and he was out there one day because believe it or not, he loved to forage for wild vegetables out in the countryside. So he would go out there on weekends and take the kids and just like make a day out of it and forage for green veggies and stuff. And he decided to buy some land. So they can go out there and have fun and, forage for veggies and camp out and stuff. And then when he sold that land, and it was quite a bit, I think it was about like 100 acres. It was a lot of land. And when they did end up selling it, after he passed away. I believe it was like or like in the 2000s. Yeah, they ended up making, millions of dollars from that land purchase. So I know that story from, on a personal level. And that's why I think land can be such a great investment if it's purchased in strategic areas. And it's certainly a great way of getting into the market for less money and not having to deal with the traditional headaches of landlording and and providing housing, which are, like tenants, repairs, and dealing with issues like that. So it's a more stress-free way to get into the market. It's less money to get into the market. And right now, there are so many solar projects, wind projects in California. Even driving, from Las Vegas, from Phoenix, you're going to see a lot of those projects when you're driving back from other states into the California area. So those are some of the reasons why I love working with Marcella and introducing her to new investors at our live events and through our webinars and such. So thank you so much again, Joseph, for all the great work you do. Looking forward to hosting an event with you back in the East Coast next year. And back to you.
Thank you. Marcel, anything to add before we go to our next moderator?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Linda, for that. And Linda mentioned about California real estate continuing to go up, and I'm probably thinking she was talking specifically about residential, because for us with our land, we're looking at, minimum of 25% annual return on our properties. And I've seen it go a lot higher than that as well. So just wanted to bring a little point of clarity around that.
Thank you for that, Marcella.
Thank you, Linda. I appreciate you.
Yeah, that's great. And now we go to our next moderator. She's our AI Prop Tech Council guress. Good morning, Amy. Welcome. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and do you have some thoughts, statements, questions from Marcella on why today's dirt is tomorrow's gold, land banking?
Hey, thanks, Joe. Welcome to the room, Marcella. Yeah, I'm Amy Paul. I'm a real estate developer, Prop Tech founder, and chairwoman of the U.S. Prop Tech Council, which is the trade association for the real estate technology industry in the United States. I actually happen to be a powered land developer and data center developer. And what I will say is, land banking is a great tool. A couple of the caveats that haven't been mentioned is you got to understand that they're long-term holds. You're going to have to pay taxes along the way. It's not income producing to offset any expenses that you have. So you just need to understand that going in to any sort of land investing. And then with the changes in the administration, green energy is not as much viable anymore unless there's state incentives. So you just need to be aware of that. And data centers are not using green energy as an energy source. Very rarely do they. It's always like an ancillary source. So you have to just don't that be. So you just have to but land is great. I mean, I do power land all the time. What I do is I buy land and then I build a little bit of infrastructure for it and make the best returns because that's what the data centers need. They need power. So that's kind of what I do in the land. It's not really necessarily land banking. I'm not just buying and holding in the path of progress, but adding a little value to it. But it is a great real estate investment. So my question for you, Marcella, would be on your land holds, how long are you typically holding them? And what is the average? I know you have an average return, but what are the average costs per year on your holds?
Sure. And a point of clarity, thank you so much, Amy, for sharing, and I appreciate where you're coming from. I'm curious, have you developed these things in California specifically?
Well, no data centers are being developed in California right now. So most of the data centers are being developed outside of California. I would say 99% of them are being developed outside of California. So no, I'm not developed in California.
Okay. So there's actually close to 300 data centers in California with more planned. Actually, one of the largest ones planned in the area where we're investing. And California has mandates to go 100% green energy. And so, regardless of what's happening on a federal level, California is pushing forward at a very rapid pace for green energy projects. And we're seeing it happening on the ground with, like I said, over $120 billion already invested, with another $5 billion planned for infrastructure development. And
no, that's not the largest. I just to be clear, the largest areas for development right now in the data center world are not California. The largest areas are, there's Loudoun County. Actually, Texas has, I don't know, 25 gigawatts. Actually, 200 gigawatts are in the queue being requested for data centers in Texas alone. So California has land construction. They also, this green energy push is moving the data center developments out of California, because green energy does not work for a data center, especially AI, because it cannot handle the AI loads. And so I don't want you to go down the wrong path and assume that you're going to bank on something that's just not going to come to fruition. That's all I'm trying to do, is help you out.
Yeah. No, I understand that. And there's a lot more to it besides AI. It's just AI causing a tremendous amount of electricity growth and need. And there is a data center a solar project currently under construction where we're investing, is 13 square miles large, and Amazon has committed to buying all of the energy from that for their data center. So it's so much more than data centers as well. That's just one little piece of it. But California has also signed another bill stating that they are going to start selling their renewable energy to other states as well. So it's a matter of California creating the energy that's needed to power everything. And another big, huge energy consumer here in California is electric vehicles. That's growing at a very rapid pace because of their mandates to bring this type of technology in. So it's not investing in hopes of powering a data center. It's investing in the land, the number one location where these solar, wind, battery energy storage projects are going to power everything.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate that insight from both of you ladies. I really appreciate that this morning. And we have Marcella Silva here this morning discussing why today's dirt is tomorrow's gold in land banking. So we're going to go to our next moderator guest, who is also she was just at my white label course, and we just actually corresponded yesterday. June, good morning and welcome. Brief overview of who you are, what you do, and some thoughts to our discussion this morning with Marcella in regards to land banking. June, are you there? June going once. June going twice. We'll come back to June. We'll go to our gentleman. We have a special guest that just showed up out of nowhere. I've known him 16 years, Mr. Bob Chezik. Good morning. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning with Marcella in regards to land bank. Bob? You sound like you're like 100 feet away.
Circle back to me. Let me see if I can fix this.
Yep, no problem. Good morning, Brian, and welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to land banking with Marcella Silva this morning.
Morning, everyone. My name is Brian Guth. I am an investor in upstate New York, Rochester area, just south of our friends in Canada. So we do, my wife and I do fix and flips, fix and holds, Airbnbs. And I mean, I do not have much experience in land banking, so that's it. This is a very interesting topic to me. my investment strategy is, very much kind of the concept of the Burr model. Put some money into it, do something to make that property more valuable, and pull the money back out in order to invest in my next project down the road. So it sounds like, obviously with land banking, I can see the long-term play. Are there any, I guess my question is for Marcella, are there any strategies that you implement in order to kind of pull the capital out at some point to move on to the next project? Or kind of once you're in there, you remain, the capital remains tied up until sale of the land?
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Brian, for your question. And so, land banking is sit, buy and hold. And we also have investors who are getting long-term land leases as well, especially on these green energy projects. So they'll get 25 to up to 45-year land leases where they have cash flow. I mean, some of our investors are getting their initial investment back within 1, 2, 3, or 4 years at maximum, and the rest is all pure profit from there. And in the end, they still own the land. Can people leverage their land? Yes, of course. You want to talk to lenders and such who would be open to doing those things, but for the most part, it's a buy and hold strategy with land. So we're not putting anything into the land. It's literally just let it work for you. As developments come in, the value continues to go up because there's less and less land available. And developers also like to follow each other in areas as infrastructure comes in, and it becomes easier and easier for future developments to come in. So hopefully that answered your question, Brian. Typically, most of my investors are not taking monies out of it to buy other things.
Thank you, Marcella. And Brian, thanks for your insight this morning. Felix, good morning and welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to why today's dirt is tomorrow's gold, and with land banking, questions with Marcella this morning.
Grand Rising, Joe. Grand Rising, everybody. Thank you, Marcella, for coming on. Definitely interesting information. Felix Buchanan Sr., Buchanan Biz Enterprises, and the JLix Group. It's interesting to learn that, what it is that you're saying as far as land banking goes. I've dealt with land before, obviously just being in the business over 20 years. So I'd never heard of that before. So it's interesting. I definitely would like to. Do you do that land banking in all states like Maryland, Texas, the Carolinas, Georgia?
Sure. Thank you, Felix. No, we only invest in California.
Okay.
Primarily because of the economic trends, also being within a 60-mile radius of deep water ports. Mm-hmm. Ports of LA and ports of Long Beach are the busiest ports in the entire United States. So that also plays into it. We're not just investing in land for green energy projects, by the way. It's also land needed for industrial. The Amazon effect has taken land values in the industrial realm to a whole new level. Mm-hmm. It's crazy how much warehousing and distribution centers are being built for that. So yeah, only specifically in California being the 4th largest economy in the world.
Do you see that going to other states, especially, states that would need that level of green, like let's just give an example of New York? Do you see you got that being done there or in the bigger states, Texas, or no?
No, we personally would not be going there. So no, we're only focused in California. Am I saying that it can't be done in those other states? No, I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying that we don't do it in those other states. Because again, we want large population and limited land, and then multiple economic trends causing those areas to grow.
And so do you think?
Hold on 1 second, Linda. Go, Felix, why don't you finish your questions? Go ahead.
Yeah. Do you think that it would be advantageous of other people to look to start something like that in any of those states?
I can't speak for other people, but hey, anyone can do anything they want. I'm open to, you know. Like I said, there's possibilities everywhere.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you for your time, and that's the only questions I have.
So,
Thank you, Felix.
and Marcel, we have a couple other people that want to ask a question, and we'll go back to Bob too in a minute. My question here is: your training is not just for California. Your training for land banking is national. Am I correct?
No.
Okay.
We only do California, and I'm not training people how to do land banking because there's a lot that goes into it, and knowing how to do the right due diligence is a lot. And that's our company takes care of all of that. And I do speak to what they do, and it's something that someone could, take and try to implement themselves for sure, but we're not training people how to do this.
Got it. So we'll go to Linda, then we'll go to Amy, and then we'll go to Bob. Linda?
Joseph, and I apologize for interrupting before, Felix. I wanted to just chime in to let everyone know that people from around the United States have invested in land in California. It's actually a popular way of people in other states purchasing in an in-demand state, because as I mentioned, California is very popular as far as investment. Traditionally, it has had great appreciation. Also, Marcella's company does a lot of due diligence. So those are some of the things I wanted to mention, that they do have investors from across the country that have purchased land in California.
Excellent. Thank you, Linda. And Amy, did you want to give some additional input? I saw you on mic for a minute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think when you look at the best use cases, obviously there are AI tools out there. I did want to add that also. There's a couple of founders in the council that have AI tools that determine the path of progress. So if you're going to use land banking as one of your investment tools in your tool belt, there's more information out now to make this not so mysterious, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
We're losing Amy.
The residential. Sorry, did you hear me?
Yeah, I got you now.
Okay, sorry. I'm driving my kid's soccer game, but so we have more tools available to us now to take out some of the due diligence and mystery out. So I think land banking could become more fruitful for folks, especially as you're trying to determine path of progress. That's all I was going to add.
Marcella, your thoughts?
I don't disagree with her, and I think it's one thing to understand, where progress is going, where growth is going, and then it's another aspect to get quality land. Two pieces of land touching each other could be worlds apart in value, even though they're right next to each other, where one property is developable and one is not. So knowing what to look for with the land is also an important piece. And if there's AI tools for that, I'm not personally familiar with it. I just know on our end, all of our properties go through 16 layers of maps to determine if it's quality developable land beyond just, is this a high growth area? So thank you, Amy, for sharing your insights.
I love it. So, Bob, are you here available to introduce yourself and yet ask a question?
I don't know why I can't get the microphone to work.
You're working fine. I hear you loud and clear. So why don't you do your intro?
Right now it's working. That's weird. I've been playing with it for the past 5 minutes trying to figure out why my phone's being stupid. Okay, so my name is Bob Chesek. I'm president of Cheskin Corporation. I help people set up LLCs. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not here to give legal advice. And just thinking about the land banking, before I ask my question, I had an uncle that did a lot of what you would now call land banking back in the first half of the 20th century. He owned a gigantic, massive piece of property outside of Scranton, Pennsylvania called Bell Mountain. And if you were to go to that area today, that's where you're going to find Viewmont Mall and pretty much all of the shopping district for the Scranton area just outside the city limits. It was a bunch of stripped out coal mine land that Pennsylvania had deemed was useless and could not be built on. And he wound up selling it to a shrewd man who was able to get all the permits and built it. If you ever drive up there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And Joe, I think you've driven through that area before.
Yep.
And there's just everything there now. But it's so weird to think my family once owned that entire piece of property.
That's amazing.
So my question, he had the foresight back in the 1920s or 30s to buy all that land and useless land, and well, he made a ton of money on it in the 50s. But going forward to my question, so I know you do you do entirely California. So I live in the state of Delaware, and Delaware for the past 40 years has been trying to basically find every single piece of developable land, particularly around the beaches in the southern part of the state and in Newcastle County, which is the northern third of the state. And land is becoming extremely scarce. Most of it's going for residential stuff, but more recently, they just approved a bunch of data centers right outside of Wilmington. So Delaware basically sounds like, in a lot of ways, like California, proportionally doesn't have a lot of land banking left. So if someone's looking into an area to get into another area where land banking isn't a common thing, which I don't believe in Delaware it really is overall, or at least anyone who was involved in it made their money long ago. What would be the key things that they would look for, any trends in the area or whatnot that would identify a piece of property as a potentially good thing for a land bank for something that may be built 5, 10, or 20 years down the road?
Sure. So, I mean, I'm personally not familiar with Delaware, but just looking at what trends are causing growth in the area. What are the economics of Delaware and how much land is actually developable, understanding that. And, there's just looking at the map, it looks like there's a lot of government land there in Delaware. So, obviously we can't buy that. Really, it sounds like it's a great potential area, and Delaware is very small, so I have a feeling that land is quite expensive. For us, we're buying land at no more than $2 per square foot. When you start going higher than that, then there's less equity to be made. So I can't really speak for Delaware, but hey, it sounds like an amazing opportunity for that. And just understanding, is it developable land, going to the cities, going to the counties, and really getting a good understanding of what can go on the land and what's available for that. Kind of doing what your I think you said it was your uncle, or grandfather, I can't remember, sorry, but your family member, what they did with their land. It sounded like they had to go through steps to be able to create a developable opportunity with that land. That is definitely something someone can do. For us, we don't get into buying land that would have barriers to development. So I hope that helps. But like I said, there's definitely land banking opportunities all over the place. We're just focused in very strategic areas where we know demand is high for multiple different trends.
That's very good information. Excuse me, that's very good info, especially because Delaware was predominantly agricultural and industrial up until about the mid 1980s, when it kind of developed into what it is today, and people started moving in. But yeah, the trend in Delaware is people move there because of proximity to major cities, as well as unusually low property taxes for the northeastern United States, especially compared to the surrounding states of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Maryland. So that's pretty much is what started the trend with Delaware, and some very smart decisions the government made back in the mid 80s to develop a financial center there. So, but no, that's that very, very interesting insight. And yeah, My uncle definitely was probably one of the pioneers in the whole concept of that, at least in that region. So it's interesting to hear, and kudos to you for making a business out of it. I always thought of it as a thing and never realized the scope of it. So thank you.
Thank you, Bob. And just one thing, because I think property taxes were mentioned. So in California, all of our properties are under Proposition 13. So folks are looking at paying no more than 1.3% of the purchase price. And typically, because it's land with nothing on it, they typically assess it even lower than that. So it really is a lower holding cost than like most traditional real estate.
So thank you, Marcella. And
Interesting. Thank you very much.
thank you, Bob, and thank you for making a special appearance. So, Marcella, we have a question from the audience. How do you see land values performing when a big recession hits? What's your thoughts on that?
So again, sure. So that's why we want areas where there's multiple economic trends causing the area to grow even when there are downturns. So like I mentioned, the ports of LA and ports of Long Beach, people don't stop buying things completely in downturns, right? We all love Amazon. Well, as an example, just land is being consumed for massive industrial warehouses and distribution facilities because of the consumer industry. About 40% of all goods coming into the United States is going through there. So we want areas where, like I said, there's multiple trends causing it to grow. In regards to the green energy thing, the downturn has no effect on that because there's mandates, laws on the books pushing that forward to be done at certain times. So when we're seeing California spending billions of dollars just on infrastructure upgrades alone. So as it's a matter of being in the right areas. That's why the understanding economy is and what's causing growth is important, so that we don't get stuck in areas like Las Vegas, for example. The main trend there, entertainment and gambling, and then downturn happens, people don't go there, and that affects growth and development.
Yeah, Marcel, I really, I think this is something that can be transposed almost in every market. It's just what's your tolerance and barrier of entry, and what's the exit strategy? I mean, I don't think I know you focus strictly in California, but to me, I have a colleague he's identifying a piece of land that's 25 acres. He's got to figure out, hey, what's the exit strategy if I hold on to this? If I redevelop the mobile home on there, there's a lake. Do I make it a hunting area? It's 25 acres. It's a lot of acreage, right? There's wetlands. So there's a lot of things that you need to talk to your zoning locally, no matter where you're looking to do this. I mean, this is not a national thing. This is a very local way of making money in a lesser, I would say, elbow grease type of environment. It's a different type of elbow grease, I feel, right? It's not like you're digging ditches to make money on the land, right? You're kind of speculating on the appreciation and the play for opportunity and growth in the market.
Correct. And just another added benefit when folks invest with us is on the exit, we help our investors negotiate to get the highest and greatest price for their properties.
Yeah.
Because developers want to get the land as cheaply as possible. I mean, they don't want to pay a prime amount. Well, that's understandable. And for us, with our investors, we're looking at, we're in the dirt, quote unquote.
Yeah, you're in the dirt business.
All day, every day.
Yeah, you're in the dirt business. I like it. I like it. It's something that I might look at, down the road. I'm still in the multifamily space, but that gets, as you age, things get a little more daunting. You know what I mean? In taking care of things and facilitating people. Now you're in adult daycare. I don't have to babysit adults on a piece of land. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's why I like it. It's easy. It never calls me on the phone.
Exactly. You're not getting any bad calls. Yeah, there's not a plumbing leak on a piece of land. You know what I mean? A tree fell. Okay. As long as it didn't fall on anybody or a car, we're good. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Don't care.
Yeah. So, Marcel, how do we reach out to you in regards to this? What's the best way to reaching out to you? We'll get everything onto the podcast itself once it's cut and edited for you. But how do we reach out to the people listening in today on Clubhouse and live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn right now?
Sure. Go to my website, dirtisgold.com, and you can see where you can watch the webinar directly. So if you're interested in doing that, also you can email me directly, Marcella, MARCELLA, at dirtisgold.com. And I'm happy to, hop on a Zoom sometime and chat with anyone who's interested in learning more about this.
Yeah, I really appreciate your time this morning. This was definitely insightful when Linda presented this idea to me, and she's been bringing, various real estate professionals that she has in her circle of influence on the West Coast. A couple months, I think a month or so ago, we interviewed a great guy from Pad Split, which we lend on actually at Lend Investors Capital. So I do like this idea. I do like the idea of taking it to more of a shovel ready process, but I think there's a unique opportunity in what you're doing. And I thank you for your time this morning. I want to thank our moderators because none of the moderators this morning were scripted. Okay, they came in cold with this subject matter. I prepared this subject matter. If they look at it, ahead of time on how I have it scheduled. We have subject matter scheduled out to the end of January. This podcast will be loaded through Buzzsprout and loaded to all the other, podcast social media buckets that Yordell Perkins of Perkatech provides. I want to thank Linda, of course, for providing the introduction to Marcella this morning and being a part of this podcast now, hitting close to 150 episodes. I want to thank Yordell Perkins of Perkatech and orchestrating all the social media. He's definitely a person you want to have in your team of experts from a social media strategy. He handles all my marketing, my social media team out of the Philippines that does all my video work and podcasting, the newsletters that are popped out every day. I want to thank everybody for their engagement this morning. My final thoughts to this discussion, at the end of the day, land banking is about positioning yourself ahead of progress, not chasing it. When you understand where population growth, infrastructure, economic expansion are heading, you begin to see land not as an empty dirt, but as tomorrow's housing, commerce, transportation, and innovation. The investors who secure strategic land today are effectively buying at the ground floor of future development. That's why as today's dirt becomes tomorrow's gold. It's a long-term wealth play rooted in patience, vision, and economic fundamentals. I want to thank everybody for coming on this morning at the Creative Birth Strategies podcast. We're here every Sunday morning, Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m., providing education, networking, and strategy. My name is Joe Scarice, a nationwide direct private lender offering white label programs for individuals that want to broker or become a capital partner with our fund. We also have a referral program where we're paying 1% of origination to referral partners. And then if you're a direct investor, please reach out to me so we can price out your deal, whether it's DSCR, fixed to rent, fixed to flip, new construction, multifamily, bridge financing. I want to also thank MB Capital Solutions, where I'm a referral partner for unsecured business lines of credit, providing unsecured business lines for real estate professionals and B2B professionals nationwide. So my final thought and quote this morning, let's get that in front of me. We always try to put a nice little quote out there. You have to train your mind to be stronger than your feelings, or else you gone losing yourself. Again, this is Joe Scarice. Have a beautiful Sunday morning. Have a great week. Let's stay in touch. Reach out to Marcella, and I'll be ending the room in the next 30 seconds. And thank you. And please go to Amy's room following this great room. Thank you.